Welcome to the channel, guys. My name is Jess. So Bitcoin's recent rally has broken above a major level of resistance as well as the macro downtrend. We're going to dive into the charts today to talk about what's next for Bitcoin, including key bullish continuation targets and invalidations, as well as the short time frame charts, what to look out for there, and a potential retest of support. As always though, before we get into all that, make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to get regular Bitcoin analysis every Monday, Wednesday and Saturday. If you're after even more content, be sure to check out my free Telegram channel, and if you're interested in my VIP channel, you can get more details over here. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trading setups with exact entry points, targets and stop losses. Alrighty guys, so diving into the charts here, a lot has happened in the market. It's a very exciting time, so let's talk about what's been going on. Over the last couple of days, we can see Bitcoin has done a couple really important things, right? First of all, we broke out of this sort of macro range over here of resistance, ending at $100,000 and beginning at 91,000. So when we broke above this level here, what we failed to do in the past on the 5th of January, that first breakout over here, was establish 100,000 or the top of that range as a base of support, right? And so yesterday what we saw was really important, where Bitcoin went on to retest the level there at 100,000 as well as a lower level support at 98 and bounced. We can see that giant wick there and closed the candle above 100 as that base of support. So we retested and I guess confirmed it or validated it, flipping that level to a support. Moving forward then, we were able to establish a bullish continuation facilitated by that level, pushing us above $102,000, this level of resistance over here. And Bitcoin is now headed for the next key level of resistance, characterized by the all-time high at 108,000. So we're going to dive into the charts today. We're going to talk about obviously the high time frame validations that we have here in terms of breaking above $108,000 and beyond that. And then of course the short time frame charts. Are we going to continue upwards? Do we have any short time frame trend lines, structures to be looking out for, key levels of support, and so on and so forth. Before we get into the rest of the video, guys, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor, BTC. We can get 15% off all of your trading fees and up to $5,500 in sign-up rewards when you create your free account using the link down in my description box. BTC is an emerging cryptocurrency exchange committed to providing you with a secure, convenient, and highly functional trading and investment platform. Available across all countries as a non-KYC exchange, get global access to over 150 trading pairs with minimal fees on both spot and futures contracts. Join today to get $5,500 in sign-up rewards and get 15% off all of your trading fees by signing up using the link in my bio or by using the code 1GG3 when you create your account. So starting off our analysis on the high time frame charts, guys, essentially what Bitcoin's done in the recent price action and in breaking above 102.5 thousand, as well as this macro downtrend, is flip this entire segment of price action from being bearish to bullish, because for the first time within that segment of price action, we are finally printing higher highs on the charts, right? And if we take a look at the RSI as well, we can see RSI or momentum has flipped positive for the first time within over a month period. This is almost 2 months of downtrending momentum that we've seen on the charts, guys, right? So essentially the high time frame charts are looking bullish and will continue to do so as long as Bitcoin continues to hold this level here at 102.5, the prior high in the price action. As long as we continue to do that and print those higher highs, we can expect continued bullish movement, first of all towards $108,000, the all-time high level of resistance, and of course beyond that re-enter into price discovery. So pushing past 108,000, what we essentially look for in terms of, bullish continuations and new targets is going to be psychological levels. What are levels that people are most likely going to look at and think that, it's time to take profit? And those are generally going to be whole numbers. So above 108,000, we've got $110,000. That's the first psychological level, just a couple percent away. And then 115,000, above that 120,000, 125, and so on and so forth. You guys can see how that ladders upwards. And essentially, these charts reflect that price action is more likely, of course, after breaking $108,000, but particularly as long as we hold 102.5. That is our key bullish validation here on the high time frame charts. Now, aside from psychological levels as well, if we move over to a cleaner chart here, which is an on Binance chart, if we map out the sort of horizontal channel that Bitcoin's been traveling in the last couple of months, ranging from 102.5 being that sort of range high resistance there, ignoring deviation, of course, and then all the way down to the range low at around 91,000. The measured move of the breakout from this channel takes us all the way to around 15,000, or just shy of $15,000, right? So kind of again representing potentially that the final target here, in terms of just based on this previous price action and what we can see from the structural levels that we're breaking here, we have a target of around 115. So another sort of psychological level, kind of has confluence with that analysis. And just to give you guys a little bit of extra information, a move above 108,000, the all-time high, 215, is about another 6% rally, or just slightly over another 6% rally. Now, aside from taking a look at historical price action and psychological levels, one more thing that we can also take a look at in terms of, expecting what's next for Bitcoin in a really high time frame sort of sense is date range trends. So if we take a look at BLX and all the historical price action from Bitcoin, we can see that generally every single bull run from the bottom to the top of that bull run, so our current bottom is 16,000, is generally 1,064 days. That in this current cycle takes us to around early October 2025, where we can, in breaking above $108,000, essentially continue to expect price discovery or high time frame bullish price action until we approach that October period, where then we look for instances of bullish exhaustion, for example, divergence on the RSI, to gauge that the price action is going to be entering back down into a bear market. If we take a look at historical price action, we can see over here it was 1,064 days from the bottom at 3K up to 69, and all the way back here again from the bottom to 17,000. It was again 1,064 days. So assuming that Bitcoin continues to hold 102.5K as that base of support moving forward, Bitcoin definitely has some really bright days ahead and some really exciting price action for us to look forward to. But also, one last thing that I do want to mention before we dive into the short time frame charts is the upcoming weekly candle close. So we have our weekly close in about 2 days time, and we've also got some pretty important events in 2 days time. Trump's inauguration, which is likely to have, some sort of impact on the market, potentially being a sell-off event, purely because he's been so verbal about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin in the past. But what we want to see in the upcoming weekly candle close is for it to push above the closing price for the prior all-time high here at about $104.5 thousand. If we're able to push above that level and engulf the closing candle for the all-time high in the past, it's very likely then that moving forward, Bitcoin will have the strength to push above 108,000 and we enter into price discovery, as opposed to rejecting off that level of resistance and seeing another short-time correction. So with that, let's move on to the short time frame charts and take a look at what we need to be looking out for there and what's going to signal that bullish continuation. So moving into the 4-hour chart here, we can very clearly see the current level of resistance that Bitcoin is retesting, right? If we take a look at the, the candle that marks the all-time high, that is that sort of liquidity zone that we're looking to break into and above to see a bullish continuation on the high time frame, right? So that level of resistance begins at $105.8 thousand, or very close to 106,000, and ends at obviously 108.3. You guys can also see if you pull up the Smart Money Concepts indicator, it will literally box out that level of resistance perfectly for you. So we know that right now on the short time frame and the high time frame, Bitcoin is retesting a crucial level of resistance. So it's normal that after such an extensive rally and up against such a level of resistance, we're going to see a little bit of a pullback, right? And the key level of support that we have here then is going to be 102.5, the exact same as on the high time frame charts. If we zoom in a little bit further into the hourly time frame, we can map out our current structural uptrend as well, which also has confluence with 102K support, as well as the 50 EMA on the hourly chart. Now, if we zoom in to the RSI, we can start to see some signs that we're seeing bullish exhaustion, and that we might see a little bit of a pullback here, right? We've printed bearish divergence, so 2 high highs on the price action, but lower highs on momentum against a level of resistance after an extensive rally. So potentially right now what to expect on the short time frame is more likely going to be chop between 102.5 to 108, and more likely than not a correction to retest that level of support, the 50 EMA, as well as our uptrend. The uptrend is, I would say, probably the least important over here. Even if we lose the uptrend and we don't fall below 102.5, there really are no short time frame bearish consequences. All it means is that we're chopping. We've, I guess, lost the strength characterized by that uptrend, but we are also moving into weekend price action, so that wouldn't really bother me too much. But it is going to be that horizontal level that we're looking here on the short time frame. So in losing that level of support as well as the 50 EMA, expect a continued bearish correction to retest the top of that macro channel that we talked about at the start of the video at $100,000. That is the next level of support. Beyond that, 98,000, which is what we retested in that daily candle that flipped support at 100K. And then beyond that as well, 95,000. In the meantime, though, while we continue to hold these bullish validations, being our structural uptrend, horizontal support, and moving average, we can expect short time frame bullish price action. So maybe a retest and then a bounce, right? If we hold those levels, moving into this liquidity zone, beginning at 106,000, and then continuing upwards to test $108,000. What we can also see here on the RSI is that we have a developing uptrend, right? The same uptrend that provides confluence for our price action uptrend. And that is also going to be, I guess, leading confirmation or leading indication that in breaking below that, we potentially expect a move down to break below 102.5 thousand. So we have our key bullish validations here on the short time frame. Things are still overall looking really good, even if we do see that short time frame correction to retest support. Now that is a wrap on the Bitcoin analysis, guys. Now let's move over to talk about the rest of the cryptocurrency market and Total 3, because it is doing some crazy things and it needs to be talked about. So if we take a look at the recent segment of price action here on Total 3, we can see that over the last couple of months, the last month or so, we've essentially been watching Total 3 attempt to break out of and through the levels of resistance characterized by this downtrend over here, right? So we saw a breakout over here in the start of January, followed by a rally and rejection at the base of resistance for the next high in that downtrend. Now, upon establishing support at 950 billion, which is a really high time frame level of support available on the weekly chart, or you can see it on the weekly chart, we continued to bounce and pushed above in the recent rally towards the upper range of that resistance in the prior high. So if we manage to break above that, which is particularly likely if Bitcoin continues to push upwards on the short time frame and above $108,000, Total 3 is then likely going to push to test the all-time high at $1.13 or $1.16 trillion, and for the first time in this cycle, beyond that, push into price discovery or altcoin market discovery, which would be absolutely huge. So the market here, in terms of the altcoins, are really prepped for some really parabolic behavior here. A really important time to be watching out for what happens. But until we break this level of resistance, it is still a level of resistance, right? So potentially time to look at potentials for a rejection on altcoins, particularly if Bitcoin does go on to retest $102,000 and fails. We might potentially see a rejection to retest the prior high in this developing uptrend over here at 106 trillion, and beyond that fall back into a downtrend. So Total 3 is really pepped for some really crucial behavior moving forward. Alrighty guys, that is all the analysis that I have for you today. If you enjoyed the video or you learned something, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you're after even more content, be sure to check out my free Telegram for daily updates as well as crypto and economic news. And if you're interested in my VIP channel, you can get more details over here. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trading setups with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. And if you are a trader, don't forget to sign up down below to BitUnext to get 15% off all of your trading fees. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye!